You're now listening to the Thousand Story Podcast, presented by Thousand Story.
Hey, Naji.
Hey, Louis.
How are you?
Good.
Nice.
How are you?
I'm feeling fantastic. I feel like you're always drinking something.
I am. Welcome to the Thousand Story Podcast. My name's Naji,
And I'm Luis.
and today we're talking about the death of the YouTube star, death of a YouTuber. Basically, YouTube has been recently implementing policies like this last year, 2016, but 2017 was really
When
they
they
started
started
it.
implementing everything.
They started implementing these demonetization policies and filters to kind of better cater to ads and advertisers and the content that they want to advertise on. But with that came a bit of flack, reasonably from the YouTube community, especially from people like Phil DeMarco, Shaytards and PewDiePie. They all kind of had their issues with it, but those were for different reasons. But the biggest gripe with the entire YouTube community is that a lot of the demonetization has affected, one, their main source of income, or one of their main sources of income, and two, it's actually caused sort of like a censoring, so to speak, because the content that they are demonetizing is very specific in that, it's usually either content that has some obscene language or dealing with LGBT content or things that contain sensitive materials, which is kind of more
That
subjective.
advertisers are kind of afraid to just like put their ads on it.
Right. And there's some reason to that. Obviously
that makes
advertisers,
sense, yeah.
don't want to put their content on like jihad videos.
Well,
But-
yeah.
But at the
Makes
same
sense.
time, it's not that, if it were just jihad videos or things of that nature to that extreme, it wouldn't be that big of a deal. But the problem is that the filters that they have in place were kind of just very faulty.
I mean, they're using a machine to basically aggregate, like all the videos that are with, because if you think about how many videos are being uploaded into YouTube every minute, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot.
massive.
It's hard. There's no way a team of people can look through all of that content.
Right. Yeah, and that
and
wouldn't,
find it,
that wouldn't be
whatever.
reasonable.
Yeah.
But more of the issue comes with, the response to that fault, rather than initially being like, oh, we messed up, we're obviously taking some things out. They kind of ignored the community for a while.
I
And
think
then,
that's been YouTube's problem.
yeah,
They just
not
have
really
terrible communication with
terrible communication
everyone
skills.
that is a creator on YouTube.
And as a result, it's a combination of that. It's a combination of a lot of the bigger stars, like PewDiePie, like Logan Paul, Jake Paul, all Jenna Marbles.
Right.
All these guys are, kind of dependent and have their brands built around YouTube. And then when they enabled that demonetization policy for sensitive content or things that include obscene content, that took a lot of their videos out of the running for monetization and angered a lot of them. Naturally, because that's their revenue went from like 50% of it to like 10% of it, and it's like, okay, that is a big problem. We kind of help build this community, and then you just kind of throw us under the bus.
I think, and I don't know, correct me if I'm wrong, but I know that they were starting to do that, but I think they really got heavy into doing it shortly after the Logan Paul, the whole suicide video that was posted.
That specifically,
That was kind of like the turning point where they were like, okay, this is, because that was one of the top videos.
that was one
for
of the
a long
videos,
time.
but they were actually doing it way before that.
Yeah.
So they started with the whole censoring concept. They started doing that last year, or way earlier this year. And then the demonetization concept,
Right.
that was also happening at the same time, but it started happening even more so. And they got a lot of flack because Logan and Jake Paul were putting up videos of a dead guy hanging in a forest, and it was still being monetized.
Yes.
Yet videos of like card games were being demonetized. And it was like, what are you
That doesn't
doing?
make any sense. Yeah.
So the whole concept of a YouTube star, between the whole ad revenue being immensely decreased,
Yeah.
between the just kind of just unadulterated censoring or demonetization, which is in effect censoring some of the content, it's become a lot less attractive to be a YouTube star at this point. And then on top of that, they furthered the kind of demonetization policy and started going down the path where they disabled the partner program or removed it for YouTube creators, which I think were under 1,000 subs and then had less than 4,000 hours of watch time for a year.
Yeah.
And I was actually included in that, which was funny. I was like, yeah, I haven't made a dime off of YouTube yet because the pay threshold is $100.
Yeah.
So I've seen revenue go in, but I haven't been paid out or anything yet. But it was funny because I got that email and they were like, we're removing you from the program. And I was like, wait, what?
So I guess this is the thing that for me, like I am kind of intrigued about, because like it's tough to be a content creator, right? And to, like, for example, 1,000 subs and 4,000 viewing hours, that's a decent threshold. It's weird to me that they asked for 1,000 subs, but I'm wondering if their whole mindset is, if somebody's going to be using YouTube to monetize, not just as a hobby, but to actually like create something out of this, then they need to have more subscribers actually viewing their content all the time.
True.
You know what I mean?
So that is a good point. I think a lot of the counter arguments I've heard are some for like, so for example, like tutorial videos where you're really only going there. That's not really a sub-worthy thing. You're going there to search up how to do this thing, watch it, and then leave. Yeah. So that kind of hurts a lot of the smaller channels.
That makes sense.
Didn't have a lot of subs. They had a whole bunch of views, but not a lot of subs.
Yeah.
And now they're not gaining any monetization off those millions or views, even though they don't have the subs. And then another one was, so say you have like animators who, obviously have to spend time animating, and you can only make like 2-3 minute videos a month.
Yeah.
Obviously you're not going to get a whole lot of subs. Well, you might get subs, but you're not going to get a whole lot of watch time off of the two videos or any combination of the two. It's animators are obviously more geared towards quality over quantity, just because it takes an amount of time to do that. And then that plus the fact that there were integral features built into being a partner. So, for example, being able to put up custom thumbnails and upload videos longer than 15 minutes.
Right.
Those are integral features of being a partner. And now you have it when you're at less than 1,000 subs. It kind of severely limits the content that the smaller producers are able to get pushed or put out. If a YouTuber wants to kind of be as big as those guys, they have to kind of follow some of the similar tactics. Now they can't, or they don't have some of the ability to do the same type of thing because they're not a partner now. And they previously had that ability, and they were previously able to.
Because before it was what 10,000 views.
Yeah, 10,000 views,
and that was it. And then you could monetize every video, right?
And then you were able to use the custom,
because it was for the whole channel. It was 10,000 views for the whole channel,
and that brought a lot of people into the fold, and it brought a lot of unique content. But now it just makes it that much harder for the younger channels to get noticed or to even be prioritized in the algorithm.
Is it something though that they should be focusing on? You know what I mean? Because for example, like, all right, just when you start off a channel, right, and you have little to no, basically no views. I mean, you have like your friends and then word of mouth. Is it okay to be monetizing that? Like, you're not making that much money. You know what I mean? You're not making anything, really.
True. You're not really making that much money. But again, monetization was just one facet of the partner program.
Of everything that happened. Yeah.
So, monetization was important, but all of us, obviously we knew you're not making that much money off of it. Yeah. But what you were getting was the benefits that the bigger guys had, which was custom thumbnails, things that entice people to get you more subs or things like that. And when they took out that capability, it's huge. And it's like, okay. Now they might have changed that now. But initially, when they started doing the partner cut, so to speak, that disabled that feature. I'm not sure if it's still there or stored. I haven't actually looked myself. I still have to look myself.
So I kind of am wondering why do that move? Because if it's, I part of me wants to think that they are trying to, I guess, like differentiate or kind of like draw a line between hobbyists. And serious content creators.
Right, I
You
can
know?
see that.
Yeah.
I like it's not so far-fetched a threshold that it's like, "Oh, this is completely
Impossible.
impossible." It's
Yeah.
not
It's not
impossible.
impossible.
And, it's kind of fair for
Yeah.
if you're, like, just a hobbyist person under 1,000 subs or something like that,
Yeah.
and you're not a partner. Like, I get it from a business standpoint.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
100%. Like, it
Yeah,
just
yeah.
makes sense. You're not gonna why waste time sharing literal pennies and creating an ecosystem where you have 1,000 or 1,000,000 people, like, earning pennies and having
Yeah.
to keep track of all that
Mhm.
when you could just set the threshold higher and have a higher quality, kind of but almost like
Content, yeah.
content and behind the branding of being a partner. That's
Right.
important. This is important
Yeah, yeah,
content.
yeah.
So it makes sense.
So they're choosing
Right.
more of the people that you
But the thing is, the fact that they're getting is that it makes it a little more less community based and
Right.
more kind of advertiser friendly and more just
Right.
commercial, which I agree with to an extent because it does make it more commercial in that they're trying to raise the brand quality of it.
Uh-huh.
But originally YouTube was built and founded upon being a community of YouTubers.
Yeah. Well, we're kind of slowly seeing the switch. I mean, ever since the advertising came into
for
play
sure.
in YouTube, is that and now they're doing YouTube Red.
Right.
Right. And now they're creating their own content, like shows, like because they had that
Right.
movie with Logan Paul, and I don't even know who else was in it. I just
Yeah,
know he
for
was
sure.
in it, but I never watched it, you know.
Yeah.
But now, they're I don't really know if they know who they are yet, still.
Right.
Because they were community based and now they're trying to do a Netflix and create their own content, and in that having advertisers as their main source of revenue because they're trying to do the subscription, they're trying to do the YouTube Red, but it's been so non-subscription based forever that it's hard to get people to just start paying for that stuff now,
shift.
So I guess I understand where they are, and what they're trying to do. But I agree though. I mean, like as far as like someone who is starting out and creating content, if they don't have the tools available to them, to succeed.
Yeah.
In a sense, to even build their audience, it's just
it's not that they don't have it's not that they don't have tools, but they just don't have the same tools that they did that kind of put them in the same running or capability to be in the same running as the bigger YouTube stars. Granted, they're not going to get primetime positioning as far as like results
not at
all the time, or mostly none of the time. They're going to give them a little boost if you have a new video, but for the most part, obviously the bigger channels are going to get more priority and show up earlier in results just because they have more popularity.
Right.
But it just sucks that they kind of took that feature away from people who really depended on that. And it's unfortunate, but it will, I think start weeding people out some more, cause people to actually really step up the game or if they were already doing the same thing, just really focus in on it. So it kind of, it could better the quality to an extent, but I don't know if that's YouTube's call necessarily. It's their goal originally was to kind of make this space for people to determine the quality of content,
right? Rather
than YouTube say this is the type of content we need. It was just an open, sandbox of just possibility. So like you were saying, it's just the fact that they are switching directions and shifting their priority is they're in a bit of a weird spot. So it's kind of sucks for them, but it also kind of sucks for the YouTube community that's been there since like the beginning.
Right.
So we'll see.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the problem really all started with the advertisers is when they start, because the moment that they have a stronghold of all the money that's coming or the most of the money that's coming into YouTube,
then they start getting prioritized.
Then they start getting prioritized. Exactly. Because how then do they pay people who are making videos, people who are seeking out, I guess, specific content, And so now that we have this whole demonetization, it's their attempt of trying to, like appease the advertisers, but like get a higher quality of content overall with their stars.
Well, it's one of those tricky things. I don't really know. The thing is, it's like the more you're going to have a lot people's concern is having a lot more of the Jake and Logan Paul-esque type channels, which are just, in my opinion, they're really not great.
I don't like them.
It's just
I never watched them, honestly.
Right,
I never watched them at all.
And the problem is that they're so marketable, quote unquote marketable, that YouTube is in effect prioritizing and putting those types of channels in the spotlight more, which is kind of veering away from the whole vibe of what YouTube was or what it kind of stood for originally.
Yeah.
And that's the fear, is that they're getting closer and closer to that commercialism, that just kind of mass marketed, popular, just whitewashed, bland
I
YouTube
wonder
quality.
why they haven't. I mean, I know they've really been trying to push YouTube Red and trying to push their subscription service, but I feel like their attempts to do so are kind of half-assed in a way, if I can say that, in the sense that, like, if you want to keep something community-based, which is what it was, right? I mean, we have websites like Patreon, that allow people to support artists, creators, basically whatever, right? In a subscription-based service for them. Why is that something that is difficult for them to implement on their own platform?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think the funny thing is that you mentioned that they actually did start implementing like a donation type thing, or like a support this creator type thing for the partners, but they again had that removed.
Yeah.
Once you remove the partnership status, you can no longer post your own merch content. You can't post donations.
Really?
Yeah. It was a huge hit. It was like, why would you do that? Like, it just really affected the smaller crowd, or like the building YouTubers in that sense. That's why it was like monetization was one thing. It was just ad revenue. You could still make your own revenue outside of that through like placements, or just like approaching people to, have their content in your video, et cetera, et cetera.
Right.
It was a huge blow.
I think you made a really good point though when you were talking about educational videos.
Right?
Videos that specifically people are just there to go learn something, and then they don't subscribe to that. Yeah, and they just did. They're just like, okay, I found what I needed because I'm looking at like 7 or 8 other videos that are just like this.
Right.
And I think that whole education sector, because right now we're living in that do-it-yourself, like era.
That's an integral part of YouTube.
So it is an integral part of YouTube. I definitely go on YouTube a lot to like learn how to do things, like either whether musically or just in general, like in life. You know what I mean?
Right.
And the fact that those creators or content creators who are very important to the YouTube universe and to like our era as a whole, aren't making anything.
Yeah, that's kind of, it's like,
YouTube,
what are you doing?
Yeah, it's just like,
why do you do this?
I feel bad, because then it's like, you want to support these people. But then I've noticed that a lot of those people, a lot of those content creators are then going to Patreon and just saying, hey, listen, I'm educational. This is what I do. This is the subject that I talk about,
Right.
And if you would like to see me do more of these videos, it only makes sense. I mean, it takes time out of my day. So I
need some help. Hit that support.
Exactly.
Subscribe to me. And you're seeing a lot more of that now. You're seeing a lot of people, switch platforms just because they're like, okay, well, there really has nothing for me here.
Yeah.
So, PewDiePie went over to Twitch. But I mean, he was going through a bunch of stuff in 2017. He was just completely fucking up in his own area. So that was a whole other thing. But he made the move over to Twitch. And kind of like just like was like buy YouTube, and it naturally kind of made sense. A lot of more creators are finding that there are other means of supporting themselves, so they're taking advantage of them. With like Patreon and there are different video platforms. So like you're seeing more Vimeo content creators. You're seeing more Amazon.
Vimeo's always had higher quality
for sure.
Yeah.
I think Amazon was trying to come out with a service too. I'm not sure what it was. I'll have to look it up. But the Amazon was trying to come out with a content.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they were trying to come out with something familiar or like similar.
Because I think YouTube has definitely had a strong hold on community based, like people who are just uploading videos, like all community based content creators, right? And now that all of this is kind of going down, we're seeing a gap where something could potentially come in and pretty much dethrone. I don't know, because they're trying to do something that they're not.
Right.
They're trying to do a Netflix.
SoundCloud Go. Like SoundCloud Go is a great example of how you just should not do it. Like SoundCloud is another huge community that was community based.
Yes.
And then they made one mistake after the other. They just did not listen. They were like, hey, this app, the SoundCloud app on Android phones needs improvement, or Apple phones. Can we get this feature? Actually, how about we just introduce SoundCloud Go? And it was like, no, we didn't say that at all. Can we? All right, fine, whatever. We'll give you that one. Can we get like repost in a different section? Actually, we'll just take something else out that you need. It's like, oh, okay, SoundCloud, thanks for failing me yet again. And, SoundCloud just had this huge sudden, well, I wouldn't say sudden, it was like a slow
It was
and
pretty
steady
gradual for a
descent,
while, I think. Yeah.
because they were just consistently not listening to the
Yes.
community at
Yeah.
all. And I feel
Yeah.
like YouTube is kind of going in that direction right now, where they're just not listening to the community at all. Well, naturally it wouldn't be, because their advertisers are their priority.
Yes.
And I think that's going to be their detriment. That's really going to be their mistake.
Yeah. Because I mean, when they no longer have content creators, then what is it that they're doing?
Right.
What is it that they have then? You know what I mean? Oh, a space for people to upload videos that you can't grow a following with. You know what I mean? Like, what's the point of me uploading? Oh God, I find no reason to do anything like that then.
Yeah, that's wild. So
go ahead.
Oh no, yeah, you go ahead.
I was gonna say what happens to the people that go viral? You know what I mean?
Right.
And don't have 1,000 subscribers. You know what I mean?
They see none of it.
They just see none of that.
Sucks, Yeah. Even if it's like that kind of hurts them too, because advertisers are like, you could see this really, like, for example, say Charlie Bit My Finger,
right?
Which is super popular. Say that didn't have enough subs, that would technically not be viable for monetization. And that's obviously huge primetime ad space. You have a lot of videos like that, where they're quality videos, which have a bunch of views.
And also for something like that, like as a short video like that, like 40,000. I keep saying 40,000, 4,000 viewing hours. I mean, that's a long time.
That's a huge time.
That's a huge chunk.
Yeah. That's problematic.
Yeah.
But hopefully we see more people moving over to different platforms, just taking Instagram.
So you were saying that Phil DeMarco and all these other YouTube stars are moving over
to different platforms. Kind of switching over. Phil is definitely heavy on the Facebook side, and moving more.
Are they? They're starting monetization now.
Yeah, Facebook is that, which is really cool. And Facebook owns Instagram, so both of those are going to be monetized. So any content, and that's
when is that
huge thing. Like, if you think about the amount of marketing that goes on Instagram, it's like one of the best social.
Instagram is definitely the best social media, I think. That currently exists.
And then imagine being able to actually physically monetize that. Not only are you already doing killer marketing, but then you can actually monetize that marketing. Like that's wild to me. Because if that ad that you put out for like a necklace gets 50 or 500,000 views, that's money going in your pocket. It may not be a lot, but it's something, And that's the potential for that is wild. So Facebook just started, they just started rolling that out slowly, where they're allowing monetization for certain types of content. So on the music side, that came out, I want to say like maybe a few months ago. I'm not sure what it is for like the video side, but because I think Harry Fox Agency, HFA, who handles the mechanical licenses for music, they just recently got the agreement, which you can opt in. If you're a musician, by the way, definitely sign up for HFA. Well, it's tricky. You typically need a publisher to actually be able to utilize them. But if you have a publisher, great. And if they, if that publisher admins all your content, even better. You don't have to think about it. But if you're in your own publisher, definitely recommend getting HFA and registering a catalog with them, because they are helping creators optimize and or opt into monetization opportunities and licensing opportunities.
Right.
So for when you see like Musically, like the Musically app, or karaoke apps, or things like Facebook's monetization. TuneCore. Yeah, or TuneCore is another distro, but
might be.
You're good. But like those services that kind of utilize like a specific catalog, like when download these ringtones now, or download this for a cover song.
Yes.
Those are opportunities that you can't really opt into unless you have your catalog in one of these licensing companies, like HFA or Music Reports, which is for like SoundCloud and Pandora and Amazon and Deezer and a bunch of other things. But look into those, publishing licensing companies or licensing administration channel, kind of like mechanical opportunities and licensing opportunities. Really, really helpful, especially because of Facebook doing that new monetization thing coming out.
Yeah, which I think to me is super wild, because there are a lot of, I've always wondered about that, because like I hardly use Facebook, honestly.
Right. Neither do I.
When I get down to it, I really don't. I mainly use Instagram, Twitter, and that's about it.
Which is why it's great that Facebook owns Instagram, because a lot of people own that. So that's powerful.
Yeah.
But even so, even though Facebook, as we both kind of agree, is kind of dead, it still isn't in the same degree because you still have a lot of the popular channels either moving over or people gaining huge followings off of Instagram. One of my favorite channels is only available on Facebook. It was a Cool 3D World, which is just like seriously fucked up 3D animations.
It's just
they're hilarious. And they're
Super
only
weird.
available on Facebook. And he has a huge following. And people like what's his name? Corey Simpson artist, I think. It might be Corey Simpson. I know it's something Simpson artist. Let me see here. But he also has a huge following on his website and there. Humans in New York has a huge following on Facebook
Humans
and
in New
Instagram.
York. Well, I think they moved over because it was mainly on Facebook for the longest time. And
for a while.
And then when Instagram got super popular, because I don't follow them, but I definitely like look up their account every now and then,
and people are making that switch over to those platforms more and more often.
So my question though is when we have monetization on Facebook and Instagram, right? Does that mean, I feel like the only way to really go about that is, I don't know, do they go YouTube? Like you have to have a certain amount of followers and you know what I mean? Because otherwise, how many Instagram accounts do we have?
Well, if the thing, I would assume it's definitely they're gonna roll it out for the verified accounts first.
Right. That makes sense.
They're just, or in the business accounts that are verified in that sense. It just makes sense to roll it out to them first because they're verified, so they know it's a marketable place. But I don't really know how they're going to implement that.
Because I wonder now they're going to have to be including a lot more ads than they currently are.
Yeah, and they're already, you notice it's a sneaky rollout because they already are including ads.
Yes,
ads are a thing now.
Yeah.
You have story ads, you have timeline ads. These are things that are already being monetized. So they're already taking steps to bring in monetization, and kind of making it easier to make the switch from something like YouTube. So it's gonna be interesting to see how they move over.
Yeah, I'm kind of excited about that.
Also found out is Chris Simpson's artist or Simpson's artist. Yeah, Chris Simpson's artist, not Corey. I don't want to say Corey. But Chris Simpson's artist, huge following on Instagram and Facebook that I can't. I don't find anywhere else. So we'll see. Facebook, I think as a whole, as a social media platform, I think Facebook is dead. But I
think it's dead in the sense that we're moving. The younger generation is moving away from it.
Right.
And we're moving into something that's a little less marketed to us. I know Instagram is in a way, but it's kind of inclusive in a sense because all the ads look like posts and they're not, it's easy. It's very easy.
Just click on it.
It's click on it or just scroll by and just continue viewing more content because the ads don't just continue popping up.
Right.
One of the recent things that I was like not happy about was the Instagram or the Facebook ad videos that are popping up mid video.
Man,
I was like,
those things pissed me off.
The first time that happened, I was like,
my
no,
God.
no. I was like, this is just another reason for me to delete this account right now if I didn't need it. Like,
oh my gosh, those things infuriate me. You'll be in the middle of and I get it, it's kind of like a commercial break, but no, but
it doesn't work. It doesn't work for short videos.
It does not.
It doesn't work. Put an ad at the beginning.
Cool.
That's fine with me.
It's done.
Yeah, but a mid, that just
one angers me.
And you can't skip them.
I know.
That's the worst part about it.
The worst part.
Is you can't skip them. So it makes me hate every advertiser that puts something in them because I immediately have negative emotions toward Facebook. Yeah. I immediately have negative feelings and emotions about whatever person, whatever brand it is advertising in the middle of some dumb video that I probably don't even care about. Honestly.
Yeah, it is kind of infuriating. So Facebook, take note. Don't do that. Don't do this.
Don't do this to us.
Oh gosh.
Yeah.
But I think we're gonna see a lot of people moving. I mean, it happened with Vine. A lot of the Vine stars moved over from Vine to either Instagram or they do the YouTube switch
they do
too.
Both. Yeah.
But I think people are always going to find or have another platform to kind of.
My question was always like, how are Vine stars when they move to Instagram? How are they making any sort of money? Because there was no way to monetize that.
Well, see, that's the thing so that is how most stars at this point make money. Ad revenue just becomes a slight part of the of the puzzle, but most of their income either comes from sponsored or paid videos,
Right.
where they're featuring some other company's content that
Brand
paid
or
them, or
oh,
a
okay,
brand
yeah.
that kind of asked them to do something, or to feature or wear something in the video. Or you have them doing the filming their own thing separately. So a lot of the Vine stars would work for other brands, or do
Right.
commercials, or like I said, just feature things in their
Yeah.
videos for those 6 seconds, because they know those advertisers or those companies know that they
Yeah.
have that huge following, and they
Yeah.
can make it influenceable.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, it's basically they really, the benefit of not relying on the platform to provide your monetization is that you get creative,
Right.
and you can still kind of transfer over that your monetization from elsewhere, because it's unaffected. You're just
Yeah.
dealing with companies directly.
Because it's your personality. I mean, that's what they want.
Yeah, it's your
They just want you.
personality, and you're not actually dealing. You're dealing with the company directly rather than the platform.
Right.
So you can still earn your money. You can still be in touch with all these brands
Right.
and sponsors, and just switch the platform.
Yeah.
So it behooves people to actually not
Rely.
to not rely on the ad revenue. Obviously, it helps a lot, but I think the reason why ad revenue was so important is because it was kind of the stepping stone to those other opportunities,
Right.
where you saw more ads, or you saw you saw more. The more popular a user was, the more ads they have, the more marketable they were. That caught the attention of brands, that caught the attention of companies, and said, okay, we can use them to market our product.
Exactly.
And it sucks that the smaller YouTube channels now won't be able to catch the attention of those brands as easily,
Right.
or on any platform really. It sucks, but that's what it is. So I think it's going to behoove people to start moving over and branch out a bit. Instagram is a really intuitive way to kind of get your brand, your name out there,
Yeah.
if you're just consistent and know how to make good consumable content quickly. And brands will pay attention to that, because you can, like you were saying something earlier. I think there was another artist you mentioned who had like 17K followers, or like 20K followers, and you were like, yo, if I had that many followers, I would be monetizing that like immediately.
Oh yeah, I don't even remember who it was.
I don't remember who it was, but
but they were like doing nothing with it.
Right. And
yeah.
that's the crazy part, is that once you have these huge followings, you can do something with it. You're able to do it, not just, obviously, because Instagram had no means of monetization yet.
Right,
You have Instagram models, you have Instagram businesses, like these things thrive. So they're
no, I mean, that's always been the biggest question, is like, if Instagram is just done tomorrow, like there are no more Instagram models.
Right.
They're gone. So your whole career is just gone overnight. You know what I mean? So
there really is no current replacement for Instagram.
No, there isn't.
Like Twitter it's not a replacement.
It's not.
It's a different vibe.
It's a
entirely.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they're trying to implement more features that make it more marketable. So
Right.
Add video and long, make longer text,
Right.
and add photos and whatnot. But it's nowhere near the same thing as Instagram. That's scary. You wonder
It's
what
terrifying,
could replace.
Because I mean, that moment, I think there was a moment, was it last year, where we were all like, "Oh, SoundCloud's done, is dead,
is dead.
Everything that you've ever done just gone.
Your entire following." I have so many friends that built up huge followings on SoundCloud and nowhere else, and then they were like, "Oh, SoundCloud's dying. My entire following is going to die with it."
Yep.
That's a scary thought.
That's terrifying.
So it behooves artists, younger artists, everybody in general, but
yeah.
especially younger artists from the get-go, to figure out a means of kind of diversifying their audience. Yes, focus and dig in on one spot for a bit, kind of, gain a following somewhere. Yes, but don't get comfy. Don't get stagnant. Don't be like, this is the only place I need people. Find ways to improve your branding, improve and expand your reach. That's you're going to be able to protect yourself against these kinds of things in the event that they happen. It's why I'm unaffected by the YouTube taking me off of a partnership thing. I'm like, it does not affect my overall brand or my overall audience right now. It just doesn't do much for that. So, and that's because I've had those things in place for a long time. I've started building the audience in other places.
Right.
But a lot of people don't do that. A lot of people don't know how to do that, or they don't have the right content for other places. Right. Somebody can be a really good person for YouTube, but a terrible person for Twitter. It just
doesn't work that way.
It doesn't work. It's just a matter of looking and researching at what you can reach into, and then reaching into it at the right time. But don't just ignore it. You know?
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of. I think we're still traversing the that realm. I mean, still trying to figure out how do we pay content creators, and it's just I can't believe it hasn't been figured out yet.
Right.
I guess because it sometimes it seems so easy.
You would think just make a dashboard and then be like, hey, your video got this many views. Here's your money. But no.
I know. And then even with Spotify, for example, there was that guy who he created a lot of different accounts. I don't know if you
I heard about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he just created a bunch of accounts and he made like small clips, like songs that were like seconds long, I think,
right?
Or whatever.
And he gained the millions of dollars in stream
because he paid about $17,000 a month or something like that for different accounts that he just had repeating that same album or whatever that he created over and over and over again, making like $1 million, and that legally. I mean, legally,
there's nothing that said he couldn't do that.
Nothing said that he couldn't do that,
which is crazy.
Yeah,
I mean, that's smart. I mean,
it was smart, but then I'm like, okay, so now how is this going to affect everybody? Because Spotify's not just going to let that go.
Right. Now everybody's going to take the blame for that. They're going to, they're all going to be punished for that.
Oh, yeah.
I think Wolfpack did a similar thing, but they did it in a little more of an organic way. So what they did was they had an album of silence, right? But the thing is, each song was like a minute or two long. So, it was still the same concept of just literally just stream it while you're sleeping, like, or put it on repeat or something.
Yeah.
But at least they had kind of like a clear thing. It didn't seem so spammy. They were like, do this so we can go and, play the show and give you guys something to perform with. We need the funding for it, which was smart, but it's still to Spotify. They were like, no.
Yeah, you can't do that.
But so far nobody's been barred from doing that. They haven't said anything yet, because it's kind of difficult to say something like, no, you can't have people stream your music, or like you can't stream your own music. Like you can't really bar people from doing that. So it's tricky, especially because it's such a new technology. How do you prevent that? It's just tricky. You couldn't get a bot to buy 20,000 copies of your album. You have to purchase.
You'd have to purchase every single album.
And it was physical.
And now you can get them to just stream and to just go over and over.
It's an entirely new thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's just a huge shift going on right now. Companies are kind of not knowing what to do, because they're so used to the old mentality of advertisers being the priority,
right?
That I think they have to wake up and realize that the community is the priority, and it will always be. We're always going to find another place. We're going to move.
We'll move. Yeah,
we're always going to move. Yeah. So it behooves you to keep those people in your ecosystem for as long as possible. But maybe eventually they'll get that point. But we'll see.
Hopefully, yeah.
Well, that's it for this episode. If you have any burning questions or topics you want us to talk about, hit us up on the site at thousandstory.co/contact, or follow us on Twitter and Instagram at thousandstory_. That is an actual underscore, not the word underscore. And if you want to know about our lives outside of the podcast, you can follow us on Twitter and Instagram as well. My handle is at Mr. Naji Boy. That is MRNAJIBOY.
And I go by at L Pontillo. That is LPONTILLO on Instagram, and at Luis Pontillo, LUISPONTILLO on Twitter. And you can find that information on the website at thousandstory.co/podcast. And thanks for joining us again. And join us next episode, where we'll talk about how self-control is truly only having one bowl of cereal.
Preach. We just had like 1K in waffles
and bacon today. Oh my God. No. But cereal, that's where we cut it off.
That's the limit. No. Next episode is actually Jimmy V and his story. So stay tuned.